Page 44, Fingal's Cave. This is a very famous melody by Mendelssohn. It's an orchestra piece. If you can find it, I encourage you to listen to it. It's gorgeous. The rhythm is very repetitive throughout. It's the same rhythm in the right hand over and over, but the notes are different, so we got to deal with that. 4/4 time, there's two sharps. This you think is a D major or B minor, because both of those keys have two sharps. If you look at the end, you're here. It ends on a major chord. Well, it ends on a B major chord. The piece is in B minor. So do the scales for D major and B minor. And it was quite common, as still is, when a piece is in minor, they might end it on the parallel major. That is, in B minor, they would end it on a B major chord, which means a D sharps. And that's B major. Kind of brightens it up at the end. Right hand first. Up here, play this all connected. 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Or rest. Same melody, just different notes. Third line up here, C sharp. If you can, do the 5/4 fingering. The last line you do 5/3. The end of the, if you don't want to put thumb there for the last measure 44, then you got to come down to 4 here. But I'll leave that up to you. You can do that if you want. On page 45, second line, you're up here. Crossover. Same rhythm, different. Come up. And this funk. Third line, the notes are here. But AVA says it up here. It falls under the fingers very well. Here it's 3. And now it's an A sharp. Look out. They're all black keys. That's fine. And then the AVA goes away. And then the last line you get bass clef for down here. And then treble clef back. Left hand, what's it got going? Well, it's got these chords. A B and an F sharp, B and an F sharp. Finger them any way you want, whichever, just get them done. I could do here, whichever. Second line, then we go from D and an A up to here. Usually in this, if it's white keys, I'll do 5 and 2 and then 3. This way I'm not moving the hand quite so much. But you can use the same fingers if you want. Third line, F sharp, C sharp. Both black keys. Again, I'd use 5 and 2 and 3. Here, and then the last line on page 44, treble clef. You're up here. B minor chord. And then second, 1 and 2. Page 45, that chord, that mess, we'll spell out the chord. Start with the bottom note and figure it in each one. So the bottom note is an A sharp, because we're in treble clef. Then a C sharp, and an E, and an A, or G. This is a diminished chord. 1, okay. And then the third measure over, the G changed to an F sharp. Or here. I don't care how you finger it, just finger it. Different ways of doing it, and then you get bass clef back here. 2/1, like we were doing at the beginning. So you move it around a bit in the left hand. The last line, you're in treble clef here, because and then bass clef. The notes are written here. But it has an AVA under the staff, and when the AVA is under it, you go down. That's what the lower is for. You don't need the lower. Just AVA, you're down here. And then the AVA goes away, but you're still in bass clef. Now, I suggest here, if you can, use third finger on the E for the next one here, and then you second finger here. So you get them all in this position. Then you put the hands together. Fortunately, the right hand isn't moving here, so you can focus on moving this left hand. Anyway, once you have the hands put together, sort of, you might think about the articulation. There isn't a lot. You're connecting this for the most part. You're lifting up for the wrists. You have staccatos at the bottom of the page here. Wrist action here, and an accent. Some of these notes are accented, but you can do that. But for the dynamics, it goes to the melody, which is the right hand. Very soft. This left hand has to be super, super soft. Then in the second line, you go up a little bit to soft for the right hand. The left hand's still very soft. The third line, you go up to moderately loud here in the right hand. Left hand's still soft. And the last line on page 44, now you're loud, and this is both hand. Accent loud. So it leads into it. Now come back down. Back down to soft. Like you were at the beginning, only, well, second line on page 44, you're soft. And then the third line on page 45, go to moderately loud. Fourth line, you go up to loud. Good luck with that. Keep the left hand in the background. And toward the end, you go up to very loud. And this is both hands now. Very loud. Very loud, I guess. The K1, I'm not sure what's going on there. As far as the speed goes, if you listen to the orchestra, you'll feel the... We don't have to play it that fast. You can slow it down a little bit. We need the pedal because we want the overtones. This is for an orchestra, all that. But we don't want to muddy up the staccatos and things, so we're not pedaling everything. The hands go down first and then the pedal, and I'm going to change the pedal after I play the hands so it overlaps a little bit. And it's that way throughout pretty much. Now you get down to the bottom of page 44, you're here. Right when I play that beat, I let the notes up. Let the pedal up. At the bottom of page 45, the last line, we're not pedaling this part. Here, this part, yeah. When you play the B, pedal with it immediately. That's because we're very loud here. I want the overtones immediately. So on that one, so it's... Make sure you don't pedal too soon or you'll pick up the D. Yeah, I get the D too. I don't want the D, I just want the B. If you can't get it without the B, without the D, then don't pedal until after you play the note. Here, but I think it'd be better if you could do it with the note. And then change it. After you play these notes, overlap it. And you're slowing down here too. That's fine. Then the pedal and the hands all come up together. And that last note is a marcato. A marcato is a strong accent. It's stronger than these other accents. It's boom. We're already very loud. So what the marcato does is it takes you up to super loud. They could have put 3 Fs in there for that note instead, but they could just do that. That's okay. There is a quiz on page 46. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to give you the answers to these or not, but let's go over them and see what they do. Number 1, and these are all true false. Number 1, chimes can be imitated on the piano, and that's true. You can imitate most instruments. Chimes, you just play them up really, really high. Yeah. And hold the pedal down so it smears everything, and you'll get the chimes. Number 2, tremolo comes from the word meaning trembling. Where's tremolo covered in the book? I think it was around page 12 or so. We had tremolos in there. Trembling, yeah, a shake. You're just alternating 2 notes quickly, and the notes are more than an interval of a second. They have to be an interval of a third or more, and that's a tremolo. So it's true. Did I say true? I don't know. Number 3, the following measure is played tremolo. And they show 2 half notes connected with 2 beams going across, and the answer is yes, true it is. That's one of the symbols for tremolo. Because there could be 3 beams, but there's 2 beams, that's it. If there's only 1 beam, that's sort of a tremolo. I don't think you'll see it very often. It's a very slow tremolo. I mean, if they're going to go that slow, they'd probably just write out the notes. Number 4, there is a whole step between each note in this scale, and the scale is this one, a D, E, F sharp. And the answer to that is true. Each of those, there's a whole step between each one of these. Remember, there's only 2 whole tone scales we can do on a piano. Either you get white keys here and black keys here, or you get white keys here and black keys here. Those are it. And that's what this is. Number 5, the principal note of a glissando is struck separately. I do. I don't know that everybody does, but I do, so I would say true. Number 6, the downward glissandos are played with a thumbnail, and it could be played. They're usually played with a thumbnail for the right hand, because a downward glissando for the left hand would probably be played with the 3rd finger nail or something. They don't say which hand. So it's true if it's the right hand, it's false if it's the left hand. I don't know, I need more information. Number 7, Gluck is sometimes called the Chopin of the North. I think the answer to that is false. I think they're talking about Grieg. Edvard Grieg is considered the Chopin of the North. Number 8, this sign, this little squiggly sign, is called a mordent. And that is actually false. It's called an inverted mordent. It's a trick question. The mordent is the little sign with a slash through it. Number 9, whole tone harmony is neither major nor minor. Depends on who you ask, but in my opinion, yeah, whole tone is just whole tone. It doesn't fit major or minor patterns at all. Number 10, an opera would be appropriate for performance in a church. Well, probably not. I'm going to say false, because an opera would have to be a religious opera if it's going to do it in a church, and there's not too many operas that are religious that I'm aware of. Usually they call those oratorios or cantatas or other names, so I would say false on that. Number 11, famous oratorio is Carmen, and that's false. Carmen is an opera, not an oratorio. You can Google what these are and get more information about them. Number 12, staccatissimo is indicated with a downward arrow. That's actually sort of true. That little downward arrow means to play it really, really super short. 13, Liszt was known for his generosity to fellow musicians, and that is true. He was incredibly generous and helping people out financially and other ways. Whatever he could do to help, he would do it to help out. Not just musicians, but anybody in need. I mean, if there was a big flood there in the area, and he would give recitals, even though he promised himself he wouldn't give any more recitals. He'd still give a recital to raise money for the flood victims. Number 14, Chopin specialized in operatic music, and that is false. Chopin specialized in piano music. 15, musical abbreviation TEN period means tenderly, and that is false. It means tenuto, not tenderly. 16, you put down a damper pedal when you see the sign una corda, and that is false. Una corda means soft pedal. You put the left pedal down when you see it, not the damper pedal. 17, tre corda literally means 3 strings, and that's true. It does, 3 strings. 18, barcarolles are generally written in 4/4 time, and that's false. I think they're usually written in 6/8 time, but you can check on that. Number 19, when accompanying a vocalist, the pianist must be careful to read the top 2 staves. No, the pianist must be careful to read his own or her own staff and the vocalist staff. You got to sort of read them all, because you got to play your notes, but you got to stay with the vocalist. So you got to kind of read what they're doing. Unless their notes are in your staves, then you don't have to worry about it. But you're reading the piano staves, and those aren't the top 2, they're the bottom 2. Number 20, turning a page of music should not interrupt the rhythm. That is so true. Please don't stop the rhythm or mess it up because you have to turn a page. And if you can, turn the page quietly. We don't want to be playing along and have that extra percussion sound going on in there. Do it quietly. And that finishes this book. And if you made it through this book, congratulations. You're ready for the next book.